In this video, we will learn how to find out the cost function from the production function. The question is, consider the production function, that is Q is equal to X plus Y. Q is the output, where X and Y are two inputs. If the respective input prices are Wx and Wy, and assume that Wx is greater than Wy, then the cost function, that is C, cost as a function of output, is, options are being given. We need to find out the correct option. Okay. Now to find out the cost function for the given production function, so we have the production function, that is output is a function of two inputs, that is X plus Y. Okay. Now what kind of production function this is? This is a production function what we call perfect substitute production function. Okay. So what does this mean? That means here X and Y are perfect substitutes. That means output Q can be produced by using only X or using only Y input, or a combination of both. How? Let me draw it. Let us say we have input X on the horizontal axis, input Y on the vertical axis. So since we have the perfect substitute production function, let us say this is the isocount. Either we can produce Q unit of output using only Y units of output, okay, or we can use only X input, or a combination of both. Okay. So to produce given level of output, we can use input factor Y or input factor X, or a combination of both. Okay. Now how do we decide why to produce? Let us see here. So given this perfect substitute production function, okay, our endeavor is to minimize the cost of production. That means output Q that the firm should produce, it can use that very input which is cheaper. We are being told that Wx is greater than Wy. Now what does this tell us? That means input factor X is expensive than input factor Y. That means Y input is cheaper than X input. Since we want to minimize the cost, what will a firm choose? A firm will choose that very input that is cheaper. Since Wx is greater than Wy, which implies Y input is cheaper than X input. Okay. So what will happen then? To produce Q units of output at lowest cost, the firm should use only input Y. That means firm should use only input Y and set X is equal to 0. Firm will not choose at all to use input X because it is expensive than that of the input Y. And since we have the perfect substitute production function, we can produce Q units of output either using input X or input Y, or a combination of both. Since input Y is cheaper than input X, so we will not use at all the input X. Having said that means if I put X is equal to 0 in this production function, that means our output will be a function of input Y only. Okay. So then what will be the total cost? So cost function, that is cost as a function of output, will be equal to, that will be equal to the input price of Y times the units of Y input employed. Okay. And since we know that Y is equal to Q, since we have to write the cost as a function of output, so we have W, that is input price of Y times Y is equal to Q, which will be equal to Q. So this will be our cost function in this case. So the correct option should be Wy times Q. This option should be correct. I hope I make myself clear and you find out this video helpful. Thank you.